What's going on, guys? Blazzintech here, and today I'm going to be happy to bring you the ultimate guide on changing the factory head unit on an NB MX-5, years 98 to 2005. And yes, you heard that right, 1998 to 2005. I'm going to be covering both of the connectors that Mazda uses and the NB MX-5. And my video is going to be the best video on YouTube to have a functional understanding of changing your factory head unit in your MX-5. If you watch this video all the way through, you guys are going to be experts, and you're going to be able to put in whatever kind of head unit you want. Single DIN, double DIN, CarPlay, CD, DVD, 8-track, cassette, whatever it is, guys. Make sure you watch this video all the way through for all of my notes. You're going to want all of them. And without any further ado, let's get right into the content. So guys, I pride myself on changing stock head units in cars and making them 110% plug and play. Meaning, if at any time I wanted to go back to the factory stereo equipment, I could do that in less than 10 minutes. As far as an aftermarket stereo goes, guys, this is one of the easiest cars you could ever dream of. Very, very simple. There's absolutely no steering wheel controls. And the only thing you really have to worry about in my NB here is the front speakers. Front right speaker, and then the front left speaker, of course. Now, in some later model NBs, the wind deflector actually has some small Bose stereos right here, but that's pretty easy too. I'll talk about that in the video. Alright guys, so my car came standard with the Mazda single DIN Bose variant of the CD AM FM radio. There was no feasible way to add any auxiliary or Bluetooth onto this stereo that was economical. It is possible, but it just costs way too much money in my opinion. And knowing that if I put any sort of aftermarket stereo in this car, it would probably sound better than any auxiliary, expensive auxiliary or Bluetooth inputs that I added to this stereo right here. Now, if you do have a 99 to 01 MX-5 and you only want to add a single DIN aftermarket head unit, I'll show you exactly what I would do again. I would not use an aftermarket dash kit, and I would just use the factory mounting hardware, I guess you could say, that's on the original DIN. Now here's a photo of it. I'll show it to you right here. Essentially, if you remove the two screws on each side of the head unit, you've got these mounting ramps or little slides that click into place on the dash itself. So you wouldn't need a dash kit, and you'd actually be able to retain the factory DIN cubby that looks very much original. I've seen some people have cars for sale that have done this, and you can clearly see that it has the original DIN cubby. Now, if you just wanted to do a single DIN, that's what I would do. I would not take out the DIN cubby and get a dash kit. So this is a little bit of a disclaimer. This is the only thing that I did that is irreversible on my car. In order to install my double DIN head unit, I had to cut off this little black tab here. Now, I surmise that this is kind of the natural divider of the two DINs, because this is a double DIN cavity, but the factory stereo is only a single DIN unit. Now, you could have the option to have the cassette deck, which yours might have a cassette deck, or like mine has, it has the DIN cubby. Again, this only applies for 99 to 2001, because 2002 and up were all double DIN, so you wouldn't have this little bar. Now, this bar, like I said, I don't know 110% for sure, but I do know that this is a non-weight bearing bar. I think this just divides the two DIN cubby, or the two DIN cavity rather, into one DIN and one DIN. I think that I could probably install my stock stereo back and kind of just line it up and eyeball it and get it pretty much perfect. But this makes it foolproof. That's what that little bar is. And if you did want to do a double DIN stereo and you came factory equipped with a single DIN stereo from 99 to 01, you would end up having to cut this little bar. Now, the only other thing that I can really say that's a drawback on my stereo install is that when you use an aftermarket wiring kit, the new head unit is always going to tell the power antenna, hey, I'm on, go ahead and deploy. Now on the factory head unit, if you changed between FM radio and CD, when you're playing a CD, the antenna will retract. Also, when you turn off your head unit with the factory head unit installed, the antenna will retract again naturally. Now, could you install some sort of a switch mechanism? You probably could. I couldn't be bothered to do so. So my antenna is always really happy to see me. So in terms of a parts list of what you're going to need, in my humble opinion, you're going to need a dash kit depending on what stereo you get. You can see that I've put my asterisk here, and we've already talked about this, that if you wanted to just do a single DIN and you have a factory DIN cubby, I talked about how you can fabricate that. You're going to need a wiring kit. So what a wiring kit does is it essentially plugs into the original Mazda wire connector and then allows you to play with some bare wires and connect it to your aftermarket head unit. Now there's two part numbers, I'll talk about that in a moment. The stereo removal tool, I showed you that in the video already. They're these little U-shaped deals. An LOC, which stands for a line out channel, if you have your Bose audio. That means that you have a Bose amp and speakers, Bose speakers that are designed to play well with the Bose amp. And then in my opinion, if you're going to change the head unit out, you need an antenna wire extender. That's just a female to male antenna wire car audio cable. I went with the Metro 44 EC18. The standard one is very, very short, the wire. It's designed to not really have any slack. I think from this point right now, you need to decide what type of a stereo do you want. Do you want a single DIN that adds Bluetooth and USB capability? Do you want a double DIN that adds Apple CarPlay and Android Auto? From this point on, you need to decide what stereo you want in your car. I went with an Atoto unit. I'm going to talk about why I went with Atoto in the very, very end of the video, but let's keep on going with my diagram here. So here's my general diagram. We'll start with an NB MX-5 that has a non-Bose audio system in it. Very straightforward. So right here in blue I have the Mazda OEM wiring. That's obviously male. This plugs into the factory head unit. But here is our Metro wiring kit, female. Okay? And these are open wires that then you would go ahead and connect to the aftermarket head unit wires. Simple enough, right? Just plug and play. Now, if you have Bose audio in any generation, in any year of NB MX-5, you're going to have to use what's called an LOC, known as a line out channel. And I'll tell you exactly what this does. In my personal use, the Scosche OEA 4A works marvelously. Now again, I told you that my car has two front speakers only, so I only use two of these channels. Now if you have the little speakers in the deflector, then you'll just wire up left rear speaker and then right rear speaker, and you're good to go. But this is a little go-between. Alright guys, so let's get specific here. The international market had, some markets were sold, the NB, the first year of the NB was a 98, and this guide that I'm going to tell you about is from 98 to 01 internationally. If you're in the US, it'll be 99 to 01. So the wiring kit you're going to specifically need is the Metra 707901. Here's the part number right here. Here's the diagram right here that I snagged off the internet. And you can see we are equipped with a power antenna. You won't use the factory amp turn on because this is a non-Bose and you don't have the factory amp. You can see 12 volt constant, yada yada yada. Now the 707901, this is a very common point of confusion. You'll say, hey, what the heck, this comes with two little wire connectors. Well, this wiring kit was designed for multiple Mazda and Ford models. So as you can see here, this little secondary plug is only for rear speakers, and our car doesn't have rear speakers. So in the end, you're just going to have that extra little connector. Now, I'm going to also show you pictures here. You need one of these wire male disconnects, and this is going to plug into the factory ground that comes with our car. Nobody's using this, and I saw it and I realized what it was, and I'm going to show you pictures here. So again, this is the Mazda OEM wiring male, and the Metra clicks right in there to the female, and then you have these open wires right here ready to go to whatever aftermarket head unit you want. So this is me holding the Mazda male, which again in my diagram is blue right here, right? These are blue, that's always Mazda in my diagram. And you can see here that this black wire right here that I'm holding in my index finger, that's the chassis ground that is used on the original single DIN head unit. So I use that again here, and you can see that this is the Metra right here, that's female, that clicks right into the Mazda OEM male end of the stereo connector. And you can see the free wires here that are going to my head unit. You can see how I grounded the head unit here, and the two wires that I put in there were chassis ground, and my head unit has a parking brake negative. Let's keep on trucking, guys. So let's keep it simple here. Let's say you have an 02 to an 05 Mazda MX-5 NB, and it's a non-Bose as well. You're going to go ahead and just need one wiring kit, and that's the 707903. And fun fact, this is also the wiring kit that's used in the NC MX-5. But as you can see, the biggest difference is that there's only one connector and the chassis ground is built in. This makes it a little bit easier. Obviously, I don't have any pictures of this wiring harness because that wasn't what's in my car, but this is what the wiring kit looks like. It's one fat connector, and you can see the corresponding colors here. Now, when you pick a head unit that you want, you just want to take some time and match the colors carefully. And there's various ways that you can attach two wires together, and I'll let you guys figure that out. Alright guys, so this is probably where a lot of people will have differing opinions. This is probably the most confusing part of any stereo job if you're equipped with a factory amplifier. So just take it from me, guys. Listen to me, use the equipment that I used, and you'll be A-okay. So let's see. What is this thing? This is called the Scosche OEA4 line out channel. So the goal of this item right here is to convert high-level output from the aftermarket head unit to low-level output. And that low-level output is going to get sent to the factory Bose amp, and then obviously amplified and then sent out to the speakers that are designed to, tune the impedance is perfect for the Bose amplifier. So here is the diagram right here. This is what the actual module looks like right here, and you can see it has gain adjustments right there. There's a little flathead screwdriver, you can adjust them. But this is essentially what you'll see here. There's an input side and an output side. So this is your head unit right here. These are your head unit will have wires. You want to wire the head unit to the input side, right? This thing, you can adjust the gain, and then it'll output low-level channels to the Metra wiring kit, and then this obviously clicks into the OEM Mazda. And then you can see that from the Mazda wires, it'll go to the amp, to the speakers. So again, just simply, the input side needs to come from the head unit, get stepped down, and then connected to the Metra wires here. So in my case, it was going to be left front speaker positive and negative, and then right front speaker positive and negative, and that's the output. So then you tune, after you've got it all connected and you check everything, you go ahead and on my particular car, because I didn't have any of those tweeters in the wind deflector, I just tuned these gain knobs. I turned these knobs clockwise to increase the gain to something that I felt was comfortable, that I liked, and I knew that I wasn't going to crank my head unit up higher than a specific volume, and there were no weird little bumps or sounds or knocking or hissing sounds. That's where the gain knobs come in to do those types of fine adjustments. Alright guys, you're in the home stretch. I know this video is getting lengthy, but I'm going to share with you just a couple more notes that you're going to want to know when you're doing this stereo job. So here we go. Alright guys, I'm just going to voice over this B-roll for the review I have on my channel for the Course Motorsports phone mount. And while we're talking about that, the only reason why I didn't necessarily film an intro video or an install video of my head unit is that I was using a dash kit because I went with a double-din stereo, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to click that dash kit in with the Course Motorsport mount installed. And thankfully I was able to do it, but I didn't want to kind of get into a position where I needed my other hand and the camera was in the way. That was a little bit of trial and error, but I was able to massage the new dash kit in. Now that brings up another great point, is that if you use an aftermarket dash kit, it's designed to click in one time, and if you wanted to remove that dash kit once it clicks into the double-din dash cavern, potentially you would end up having to remove some other dash pieces. So the way around that is to kind of take the next point in mind before you click your dash kit in there into the cavern, and that is that, honestly guys, you don't want to be in a rush when you're doing this job. If it takes a little bit of extra time to get your wiring connectors, your wiring kit, whatever the case may be, it's a much better job to do everything thoroughly. Now if you follow this video and this guide, you'll be able to do all of your wiring off of the bench, out of the car and on the bench, and you'll be able to click in all the wiring connectors and test everything before you even assemble your dash kit and click it into the dash. That would be probably my last piece of advice for anybody that's going to tackle this job, whether it's your first time doing an aftermarket stereo or your millionth time doing an aftermarket stereo. You just want to make sure that everything works out. Alright, let's say that this is your first time doing this and you say, Blazzintech, I just want to put exactly what you put in your car since I know that it's going to work. Well and good, no harm, no foul. This is the Atoto S8, and the full model number that I went for is the S8G2A74MS. In full transparency, this is the second Atoto I've ever installed in a Mazda Miata, and this is the second Miata I've ever done this to. So I have full confidence that these head units are very, very good. They are Chinese, they are Android based. This S8 is way more powerful than the first one that I had, which was the A6PF. It also costed a little bit more money as well. I'll let you shop around, but fair warning here, Atoto supplies LOCs as well as like kind of an onboard LOC deal that they supplied the physical LOCs for my A6PF, which worked like a charm on the Bose amp on my NB MX-5, but this one in particular had the onboard LOC that just could not, it didn't work. I could get sound, but I got an awful audio bump. So no matter what you do, go ahead and order yourself that Scotia OEA 4. That's about a $15 part, just to ensure that you're going to be able to follow this video to the T. This horrible popping, watch. I cannot stand that. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. It would mean the world to me if I could earn a like and subscribe for this content that I've created. And as always guys, if you have any questions at all, leave them here in the comment section on my YouTube video. You can also find me in the NB MX-5 Club or the NB Miata Club forum on Facebook. I'm pretty active in there. I hope that this video gives somebody the confidence to undertake this project. I see a lot of NBs with factory head units. There's nothing wrong with it, but maybe some people just don't have the information to either go about installing it on their own or paying a shop to do so, knowing exactly which parts you might need. As always guys, Blazzintech, and we will catch you on the next one.